All right, Sunset Rewind, back at you with another special off-season edition. Coach Padios, what do we got going on today?
Got a very special guest, brother of my all-time favorite coach, Hall of Fame coach Terry Donahue. Pat Donahue is in here with Coach Griffin from Corona Del Mar. Gentlemen, thank you for coming down.
Thrilled to be here, guys.
Thank you for being here.
What brings you into town?
Well, we're carrying on Coach's legacy with the California Showcase, and it's coming up February 11th. And wanted to talk to you a little bit about how what that's about, and see if you guys will help us move the enrollment along.
So tell us a
Absolutely.
little bit about it. What specifically is it? Who's it catered to? And how can this help not only kids from the Sunset League, but any kind of football player from high school?
This is a one-day combine that goes on. It is free to all participants, open to high school seniors from around the state. They come and they work out for Division II, III, and NAIA colleges to hopefully get a scholarship or financial aid to play football at probably 60 colleges across the country.
Wow.
It's just something we came upon over 10 years ago. Terry was an announcer for the Cotton Bowl. And he said,
remember.
"Hey, Pat, why don't you come back to the Cotton Bowl and bring some business guys?" So I came back with my bankers and some of my top people, and we were having dinner one night with Steve Hatchell, the head of the National Football Foundation. Mm-hmm. And we were talking. Terry was interested in giving back. He was a little bored. He was playing too much golf and needed to get out and do something, right?
Retirement's nice for so long, and you get a little edgy. I get it.
And he was not as close to football as he needed to be.
Right.
I mean, the guy was born and raised to be in football. And Steve said, there's a program in Houston called the Houston Showcase that these guys are running. They're going to have their third program, and you guys should look at it. There's something here maybe for you guys, what you're talking about. Really soft pedaled it. And Terry goes, "You guys in 3 weeks want to go to Houston, right?" He turned to me and my buddies that I had down with him, and they all want to hang out with Coach for another, a couple times, sit down and have some beer and barbecue, right?
Right.
So we went down to Houston and walked in. It was sponsored by the Houston Texans in their facility.
Uh-huh.
And we walked in, and there were 300 or 400 Texas high school kids working out for all these colleges. And we didn't even know who these colleges were. I mean, this is Kansas Wesleyan,
Right.
Hiram University in Ohio. I mean, we didn't know who these people. We didn't know they played football. All you hear is
Right.
people are cutting football. Well, these
Right.
guys aren't cutting football. There's 450 of these schools in the country that all play football. And if you play football, you want to win,
Yep.
right? And so we went and looked at it, and I looked at it from a business standpoint, how you would do it. That's my background.
Right.
And Terry looked at it and said, we could do this, and I could improve the football piece of it. But the most important part that I came away with was when they opened, the guys in Houston, Phil Camp, who's kind of the godfather of the whole thing.
Right.
He had two other partners that have done a great job of moving this thing along. They're in their 13th or 14th year. We're in our 10th. But they opened the playbook for us. They just said, "Hey, you guys come in."
They had the blueprint and everything.
They had the blueprint.
Right.
You're welcome to it. Great. So we started walking around, and what I noticed most was that the years started to peel off Terry. It was unbelievable. It really was.
It's like reborn almost in a way.
As a little
like,
brother.
Right.
As a little brother,
Right.
he's my hero,
You could see his enthusiasm
That's
and everything.
enthusiasm.
Yeah.
He's walking around, and I'd never really walked a football practice with him. I had been on the sidelines for a couple of games, but never really had watched him at practice. And he would grab a kid and bring him over and say, "Listen, do that drill, do this, this, this." And the kid would go do that. And then he'd go over here to a coach and say, "If you want a nose guard, this kid right here, 257, he's short, but he'll fill the A gap for you,
right.
whatever you guys know."
Well, that was your brher was legendary for
for being small, undersized.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Gutty little Bruin.
Yeah.
And so I watched it. I said, "This is something Terry needs to do," and I'm here to see if I can help him do it, right? And so we came back and we assembled, and everybody else was a business person. One of the guys was a high school coach, Alan Staff, Jim Staff. You guys may know him through high school and all that, but he's also the market president for Bank of America, right?
So he's got some connections.
He's got some connections, but he understands football,
Right.
And we came back and we said, from a business standpoint, there's nothing wrong with this. The kids come for free. The colleges come for free. And it's going to cost you some money to put it on, but we'll raise that money from charitable donations. And why don't we give it a go and try it? And so all of a sudden we took we didn't do it that year. We took a year off, started a planning session. All of our planning sessions, by the way, were at Blackie's in Newport Beach. So
That's a good place
You
to
got-
have
Man,
meetings.
I've had a lot of planning sessions
Yeah.
in my
you
time.
get a lot done in Blackie's.
Right,
I just
that's
want you
right.
to know it's a surprise, but you get a lot done at Blackie's. So we sat there. We had our first one at the StubHub Center up in
Carson?
Carson. Yeah, sorry, Carson. And we had 450 kids come out, and
Wow.
it was a circus. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing. And
How many
stuff.
colleges did you have that first year?
Had about 40.
Wow.
That came out, and because we had the Houston connection, so we basically took Houston's colleges. They wanted the colleges like the diversity. They like the geographic diversity, which we didn't understand.
Right.
They like kids from California to be in Ohio,
Right.
or Maine, or wherever
Right.
these guys are from. And so we went around, and the one of the great stories that we have is we were walking around at the end, and the kids all go. We have a college fair at the end of the workout. So the workout goes on for about 3.5 hours, and they top coaches, high school and college and pro coaches, come out, put the kids through the drills. The kids then go to a meeting place, and when we do it at the Great Park in Irvine this year, there's a hangar there. Okay. So they all have their own kind of booth that they have each college, and the kids go and match up with the colleges and go and say, I want to play, or a coach might have been on the field and said, hey, number 472,
Right.
come by and talk to Redlands. And so they come out. One of the great stories is we walked to the first college fair we had, and Terry saw this young kid guy built, just looked like he could play.
Yeah.
Didn't understand why he didn't have a scholarship somewhere else. And Terry goes to him, how'd you do? He goes, well, I did great, Coach. He goes, well, what do you mean? He goes, I got a scholarship. Coach goes, you got a scholarship?
Just like that.
Just like that. He goes, yeah, right here, I got a scholarship to Bacone University. And Terry goes, well, where's Bacone University? Kid goes, I don't know, but I'm going.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I'm going.
Scholarship right here.
College for free? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, the first year we got that, and we came back, and we just, and again, I'm a businessman, so you go and you try and figure out how you get better every year, just like college football, just like football coaches do, same kind of thing. So we went back and just started
Fine-tuning it.
improving it,
Cleaning it up.
and frankly, the number one thing, the number one problem that we have every year, year in and year out, is getting the kids to know about it and
marketing.
signing up.
Right.
Because you have a new customer. In my vernacular, you have a new customer base every year.
Right.
Yeah, the
They
seniors
don't
are
know
gone.
the seniors are
Yeah,
gone, right? So we've really made an outreach. Houston has told us that their best outreach is through the high school coaches. So really, that's what we've done, and that's why John Griffin's involved, and Dan O'Shea and Kevin from Corona Del Mar High School. They've expressed an interest, and we're really helping. They're really helping us try and get the word out to get the kids signed up. Guys, 1 in 3 of these kids will get a scholarship to college.
Wow.
1 in 3. It's free. 1 in 3 will get a scholarship. The average scholarship is $31,000 a year.
So you got money you can't even give away in some cases.
We've placed 1,080 kids in school in 10 years to the tune of nearly $40 million of
That's
scholarships.
remarkable.
This is all tracked. I mean, we can track this. And when you look at what Dr. Pepper does and their scholarship fund, and they do, and they're the face of college football.
Right.
All-State and what they've done, it pales in comparison to the numbers. They've given nowhere near this amount of money in scholarship. I think All-State's somewhere between $5 and $7 million of scholarships to college football.
I mean, this is a win-win for everyone, the kids and the colleges. I mean, the colleges have to love you guys.
Well, the colleges love it. The colleges,
Yeah.
I was in the shopping center business. This is like a mall for college
Right.
coaches, right?
One-stop shopping.
One-stop shopping. They come out. We have a dinner the night before. We put them up at the Doubletree in Irvine. We feed them.
So you provide them even the accommodations.
Accommodations.
Wow.
Yeah, because they
So
bring
your
the
costs
scholarship.
are bringing the
Wow.
college coaches in,
Right.
getting the facility,
Right.
whatever insurance
Right.
you need, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much it. You
Well,
get that
no,
through
we
donations.
have staff that runs this now.
Okay.
We have people on staff. Bobby Fields runs
Yep.
our football piece of it.
My old coach.
Norm Norm
Anderson?
Norm Anderson runs some of the football
receiver.
piece of it. Yeah, the receiver
yep.
from UCLA.
Yep.
And so we bring the costs associated with it. It costs about $200,000 a year to run. It's all done through sponsorships. So Bank of America, as I mentioned,
Right.
Toyota, Rockefeller Capital.
But the kids don't pay a dime.
Kids don't pay a
Totally
dime.
free to get an
the
opportunity.
Schools do not pay a dime.
What a great opportunity for, I mean, you're coaching in a small school in New Hampshire. You get a free trip to California, basically.
Right. They got to pay they got to get here. They got to get here, but we cover all their expenses and their meals.
Wow.
They come out to a first-class combine that's coached by a who's who of there's Super Bowl rings. There,
James Washington.
Jim Everett's out there. Caden McNown's out there. SC guy Steve Berline's out there.
Wow.
It's a who's who of football guys, and they come out and they have a ball because it's a little bit of a reunion for them.
Right.
Carnell Lake's out there. Just all sorts of great players that want to give back, and it's a way for them to give back. And they have a ball. The night before, they're at the banquet with the coaches, and we put on a program for them. And then, we tell stories about Terry. And
that's got to be so rewarding. I mean, just watching you talk about how much enthusiasm you have for it. What a great gift to give back to the community, especially like you told the story about the kid who was given the scholarship on the spot. I mean, that's got to be such a wonderful feeling to know that both you gentlemen are involved with such a great process like that.
And one of the things is it's not instant gratification. It doesn't happen like the young guy from Bacone University.
Right.
They don't
Little
get
unique.
It doesn't all get done right there that day. And the only way you can track it is rosters because of privacy laws and stuff like that. So our payoff is not until September 1,
Right.
when the rosters come out. And in fact, the first one, when we did it and September 1, even though the one kid got a scholarship, Terry had said, I had everybody at my house to thank all the volunteers.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of volunteers. There's 50, 60 volunteers of just people from our company and to run the event, non-football.
Sure.
And Terry kind of said, well, it was really a lot of fun, but I think Pat's going to run this from now on. And all that.
He'll just help out on game day.
September, we pulled everybody together at Blackie's, and we said, okay, guys, here's our results. We had 100 scholarships the first year. 100 scholarships.
Wow.
Well, and then it was Terry's best idea ever, right?
Yeah, right. Now he's back. He's back.
Pat, get out of the way. Get out of the way. So we did that. So but it is very rewarding, and I've done quite a bit of charity stuff.
I mean, it's life-changing stuff. You're
Life-changing
enabling
stuff.
kids who might not have gone to college to have the opportunity not only to go to college and get their education, but to continue, playing the game of football.
When we've looked at our charitable efforts, and they really started with I'm the youngest of five boys, okay. and my oldest brother, who I worked with, who was the name on our company, Donahue Schreiber, that was Dan's name, and it's a very successful real estate shopping center company, and Dan passed away unexpectedly at 60 years old, and it rocked our family, our company to the core, and we wanted to give something back, so we weren't necessarily
in honor of your older brother,
in honor of our older brother, and we started doing this, so we started looking at what worked. I mean, we certainly didn't want to just give money away, right? We wanted to get a return on investment and do the right thing. And everything that we looked at and everything that we've been involved with has to do with education. And education isn't a guarantee, but without it, it's guaranteed this is going to fall apart.
Right.
It's just going to fall apart. And so everything that we've done to do that. So to be able to say that we've put 1,000 kids in college,
and counting,
and counting,
Yeah.
and so it really is a very rewarding deal, and frankly, an easy raise on our sponsorship. We just have to show them the return, and people are I'm in. So we're very flush, and we run it like a business, but no, nobody makes any money in this except the kids.
So we
The only one.
say this a lot, and we do believe this, that the Sunset League is one of the most competitive leagues in the state. We really believe that. And there are a lot of players that, for the life of us, we cannot figure out how they've not gotten scholarships.
Yeah.
I walked on at UCLA, and half these starters are better than I ever was. And how they're not getting opportunities, I just don't get it.
Right.
But now something like this comes along, and I'm like pleading to these players, go out. You have nothing to lose. It's free.
Yep.
And like you said, 1 in 3 are going to get a scholarship. They have $30,000 in scholarships. And it's not just about getting that D1 scholarship to Georgia or Alabama. There's Division II. There's Division III. There's NAIA. There's a lot of schools that want to give money away.
And these are great schools in great areas of the country, great academic institutions. It's, I mean, like you said, it'll change
Great-
the trajectory
great experiences.
Great alumni networks.
Yeah.
Great, these are great places. They're going to watch you, and they want you to keep growing and get into your career. This is a life-changing event. We tell the kids that when they come out. These are a bunch of, as you guys know, a bunch of 17-year-old guys that are bleary-eyed and come out.
So we're going to play football.
And we're going to say, hey guys, your life changes today.
Yeah.
Today it's up to you, right? We're going to bring 60 colleges in here, and if you can convince them you're good enough to play at their college, your life changes going to their college.
And you
then
forever will be a scholarship player.
Yeah,
That's a heck of an honor.
right? And then the other thing I think that is, and John and I have talked about this a little bit, is this thing's kind of coming our way with the portal and all of that. There's a you guys know better than I, but I'm told there's a reduction in the number of high school scholarships.
A significant reduction to the tune of like 30%.
Right.
Which might explain why so many kids that just
Correct.
dumbfound me. Why aren't they getting scholarships?
Well, they went back to 85
Right.
scholarships to be on a roster. You still have your COVID sixth year.
Right.
And then
So that's creating a
transfer
logjam.
portal, some of the guys who'd say, I'm done, I did my 4 years, like, oh, I'm going to do a grad year, I got another fifth year. So you funnel it down, and it's just less opportunities for the 18-year-olds. And you got a lot of those coaches saying, do I want a 22-year-old fully baked, or can I invest in an 18-year-old? And they're leaning the other way. So
They almost hunt the portal first, which takes time, and they
Correct.
got to see how that. So now they're just waiting longer and longer to even
correct.
get a
Especially
potential shot.
there's guys that have finished their degrees and then they'll transfer to another school to get a master's, and they still
Correct.
got 2 years of eligibility.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, so it's just a math game. There's just less
It is.
opportunities.
It's a numbers game, but I think it's coming right our way because
Right.
we have probably 14 junior colleges, coaches that are also there. So if if it's a D1 dream you have to have,
Yeah.
and you just haven't gotten the opportunity and you want to go that route, you can do that too. We have, like I said, 14 junior colleges from around Southern California
Right.
that are all here to come out to the combine. And then I think the portal thing's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I think you could go to.
This is all a new frontier.
It's
right?
a brave new world out
frontier.
there.
And I
We're
think
all-
if you do have the D1 dream and you're a little lower on the growth, you haven't
A late
matured.
bloomer.
Yeah, you're a late bloomer. You could go play at one of these for a while, and then if you have great success, you could jump in the portal. I would think.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of coming our way. But again, our number one issue is getting these kids to sign up and come out and meet us.
this is the
I can run
opportunity.
the rest of this with 2 phone calls. I really can with the people that we have.
Right.
And that's really where John came involved, and really I think it'd be kind of cool to see and talk a little bit about why John's involved in this, because it goes back through Terry, really.
Yeah, so I'd known of the Donahues just being in the community, but and I knew their daughters well, specifically Nicole, and they had their son Tate, and Nicole's son Luke was a kicker for us, a fabulous soccer player, and he came out and kicked field goals and PATs, and then Coach started coming to the games, and he would come and talk, and we reconnected, and he was so wise, and I'd always talk to him at the end of the games. But then I started talking about halftime as we'd walk off, and he would very subtly lean in and say, "They're killing you in the back." And he was right every time.
Right.
Kind of
That's-
made me mad. But
yeah.
we struck up a very good friendship.
Yeah.
And so when I ran into his wife, we started talking about it. And she said, we might need some boots on the ground. And I said, gosh dang, I'd do anything for Coach and the family. And this is such a sleeping giant.
Sure.
You're like, oh my gosh, this is $40 million in 10 years
It's
given
just-
away.
And it seems like it's
That's
growing exponentially. Like every
amazing.
year, it's just getting bigger.
Well, it does
and bigger.
because
Yeah.
you have the kids. You have four classes in, right?
Right.
At 31,000 apiece.
Yeah.
It's exponential.
Yep.
So but John's being a little humble. Terry was extremely impressed at John's intellect on the game. He really would. They would call. He doesn't say that. They would call and talk plays after the game. Terry was absolutely. He would just talk to me about this guy. He goes, "Oh, Pat, this it's John." I said, "Who the heck is this John Griffin? Who is this guy?"
Well, his
You know,
record.
One
I got this.
119,
I know,
6 and
listen.
1.
119, 6 and 1.
Listen,
That's
he's
right.
a little better than my 0-9, my 1 year that I coached high school football.
That's why Terry went to him and not you.
Exactly,
For X's and O's.
right. So, but John's offered to help, and he's going to be a great resource to us as we go forward. And I think poignantly, guys, I talked to Coach in the last really great conversation I had with him. We were up in his office. And have you ever been in his office, John?
I did, yes.
Yeah, it's a mini Hall of Fame. I mean, he's got all his
Got memorabilia
all his
everywhere,
memorabilia, but
helmets.
it's tiny. It's a tiny little attic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he's got all this stuff everywhere. But it's just if you're a college football fan, it's like going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And we clearly knew he was not going to. Nobody knew, but I knew.
Yeah.
And he knew, and so we were talking. It was about a week before he passed away, and he wanted to go and say, "Hey, Pat, how have we done? In our lives, doing stuff together." And he and I have done. When Dan passed away, Terry and I really bonded to try and keep the family, together, and we had all sorts of issues and stuff. And we became much more closer. I was always close with him, but there was 11 years difference between us. So he was.
You had your career, he had his family.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's
this
tough.
really the last. Once Dan passed away, we really got very, very close. But he said, the showcase, we did pretty good on the showcase, didn't we? I said, yeah. He goes, what did we do about 800 guys get it? I said, no, Terry, about 1,000 guys. And he goes, that's pretty good. I said, no, that's okay, but there's going to be thousands.
Yeah.
There's going to be thousands.
And you guys are literally
This is a
changing
legacy
kids' lives.
type
Yeah,
deal,
because
yeah.
I'm going to carry this on.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that commitment to you that I and our group, we're going to carry that on.
Well, that shows you how important it was. You're talking with your beloved brother, and who had a lifetime of milestone type achievements, and that's what he wants to talk about.
He wanted to talk about this.
That's,
no, there's
you
no
know,
question.
Not the
That's
Rose Bowl,
that's
not all the
great-
Pac-12
no.
wins, right?
No, I mean, he loved talking about that.
Sure.
He loved it, but frankly, in that conversation, he talked about players.
Yeah.
He didn't talk about games. He really didn't. He talked about players and how those players ended up, and without football, what would they have become?
Right.
He talked about recruiting Frankie Stevens in San Diego, in what Frankie Stevens calls the jungle. Right? There were no coaches would go into the homes in that part of San Diego in that time.
Right.
Frankie Stevens just told us all, he told a group, he was on a panel with me. He said, Coach was the only guy that came into my house. Everybody else came to the school because they were so petrified of what. James Washington, Terry talked about recruiting him in his grandmother's garage where James lived.
Wow.
And just the idea of what happens to these kids without football.
Right.
And what would have happened to him? And he said, Frankie Stevens goes, Pat, Frank Stevens has, not only does he have his masters, both of his kids have masters. And that's what he talked about. He didn't talk about beating SC,
Right.
5 straight years.
Yeah.
Although that was near and dear to his heart.
There we go.
It was 8, just
And I
for
might
the
have brought
record.
it
It was
up.
8, but go ahead.
Well, that's right. He was there 5. It was 8 of his players.
Right.
It was 8 of his players. I'll give you that. But he was there for 5 of them. But it is, and this will be Coach's legacy. This will be Coach's legacy, and I really hope that we'll continue this on, and particularly as we go and get more integrated to the high school football scene. We have been trying to get it without being in the club. Okay, we send emails to schools. We send hard copy mailers to the ADs and the coaches and stuff.
Right.
And we're just not part of the fraternity.
Right.
And now with John and Dan and Kevin's involvement, we are in the fraternity. And I'm very optimistic that we're going to solve that problem.
We'll forward all of this
yeah,
to all the
absolutely.
schools. I mean, we'll use all of our social media,
I mean, I can
Fabulous.
I can
Yeah.
think.
Thank you.
And by the way, Pat, these guys know the game real well. There's dudes in the
Yes.
Sunset League.
Yes.
Who's the linebacker from Fountain Valley?
Kane
Kane
Elroy, is a
Elroy.
stud.
The receiver from Huntington Beach?
AJ Vandermeer.
that guy was a stud.
Yeah, they all come to my mind when I'm thinking, how did I
and,
get
and,
scholarships?
and no, they're not getting scholarships.
No,
And
they can
not-
play
not-
Pac-12 easily.
The kids
Well-
at Newport Harbor, they had
Parker
some
Awad.
dudes.
Newport Harbor had
Really?
Yeah.
There's a bunch
Oh,
of guys
there's-
at Los Al who weren't the marquee guys,
Yeah.
but you look at them and go, man, those guys can play.
Well,
This whole
where's
league has
CDM? Where's
studs.
Cooper going
Yeah.
next
Well,
year?
he's talking to a bunch of guys
Okay,
right now,
good.
but he's going to sign up and he's February 11th. If something doesn't shake out,
I mean, a
he'll
bunch
step
of
on,
guys come
he'll
to
step
mind.
on that field and 60.
Has
60
Dom
colleges.
Lopez signed anywhere yet?
I mean, I could send his name.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I feel
Oh,
bad I'm not listing
absolutely.
them all. It's
Yeah.
insane. So
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
really reaching out to those guys. I'm going to tag them directly with
Yeah.
this stuff.
Great.
Yeah.
And do tell them the sooner they sign up, the better.
Yes.
Because what happens is the coaches will start to look at their huddle accounts.
Right.
You don't want, we take walk-ins,
Right.
right? But you're behind if you're a walk-in.
Right. If they can get out there and
Right?
post it
They
like
can
their
post
Twitter
it, and
account
they'll
and their
start-
highlight
They'll
films.
start getting recruited now.
The process on there.
Yeah,
and-
they'll be able to start the conversation now. In fact, some of the coaches will come out and meet with their families before, the day before and stuff like that.
Wow.
They'll start the process. There's a number of the kids that are in that 100 every year that we get that have already been recruited by these schools, but they come out and they're able to sign them. They're able to finish it.
What
Right.
can they expect when they get there that day? What's the? I mean, are they gonna be doing time in their 40s, playing 7-on, weightlifting, all kinds of different
no
skill
no
sets?
weightlifting.
Okay.
So it's height and weight.
Okay.
40 time. A number of different drills.
Okay.
Shuttle, 3-cone.
Sure.
They do like long jump, high jump.
They do the
vertical
long
test.
jump.
Yeah.
They do
Okay.
long jump. I don't think
gotta
we do
think
the
vert-
vertical anymore.
Oh, really?
I don't know if we do. Maybe we do.
I don't think you did.
I'm the business guy. I'm not the football.
You're
guy.
getting all the donations.
Yeah, I
That's
get the donations. I gotta make sure we pay the.
Do you want me to pull up the flyer real quick? Hey,
Yeah,
Cole,
yeah.
can we pull up the flyer on the screen real quick? This
There it is right
this
there.
one's got a QR code. This is up. So we just shot an episode with the old one, but this is the updated.
Yeah,
one.
we have a QR code. All you got to do is go in here and sign. It is free. You don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
And you come out, and so they'll come out. They'll play 7-on-7.
Okay.
After all those drills we talked about.
Sure.
Then, like I said, they will go to the hangar, and there'll be somewhere around 60 colleges
Right.
that'll all have a sign with who they are.
Okay.
And they'll go in and talk to those coaches.
And Pat, can I interrupt you real quick? Not only do they do 7-on-7, but they'll do position group work.
Right.
And then, so it's not just
So
for
the
the
linemen
skill
will
guys.
do
The
lineman type
yeah, the
things.
linemen,
Right.
and then the linemen will do just one-on-ones, which
Sure.
are awesome. So
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
The,
Yeah, we'll do that.
It's run like really a UCLA rising senior camp.
Right.
So they're evaluating not only your physical qualifications, but then your football acumen.
Right.
And
Awesome.
they run it. It's quick. They go, and they're getting real good looks at these guys. So it's
They're getting a lot of reps.
Is there a
Yeah.
GPA requirement minimum or?
There is no GPA requirement across the board. If
Okay.
you have a 3.2, maybe it's a 3.4, you get a red jersey.
Oh.
And so
Interesting.
you will stand out with that because some of the schools won't take players under the 3.4.
Wow.
But many of them will.
Right.
And again, the junior colleges are, and again, there's 60 colleges. The red shirts just help people differentiate.
It helps the
that
coaches
they
know who
If
they
you're an
can recruit.
academic
Right.
school that
Yeah,
you can't even
yeah,
waste
yeah.
your
Yeah,
time.
you just can't even waste
yeah.
their time, right?
Right.
So they get the red shirt, and then everybody else will get a blue shirt if you're on offense and a green shirt on defense.
Okay.
And
Now, the kids that show up, do you suggest that they bring like their transcripts and have all that
no,
stuff prepared?
They don't need any of that right now.
Okay.
This is simply for them to show up and go out and work out in front of the guys.
Okay.
They don't need to handle any of that. That all gets handled by the academic piece once there's some interest from one of the colleges. So they don't need to. They got to get up.
It's just show up.
They got to brush their teeth,
Have
get
fun,
up, and go work out.
work
and
hard,
and
yeah.
they will. They'll have fun. We got waters and we got snacks for them. And they're going to be around some unbelievable coaches. I mean, again, they don't know who they are, but if they really knew who they were, there's
Right.
there's
Yeah.
Super Bowl rings, there's Rose Bowl rings, there's all the different stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a great deal. I invite you guys to come out this year and coach it if you want to.
I'm in.
We'd
I
love
can't-
to have
yeah.
you. And once
Sounds
you see
amazing.
it, because you really have to see it. I mean, you can watch the video and you can come, but John, you once you get out and see
Yeah,
this thing in
it's so
action,
inspiring.
Okay.
it really shows you. Wait a minute, what the heck are we? Why,
Well, we can
why
tell
are we
these
working
South Philly
so
guys.
hard?
We got Cypress guys.
I mean,
There's kids
yeah,
I want to see
yeah.
compete.
There's a
and see
list.
how they perform.
And we get kids from Modesto, and
Sure.
we're
Yeah.
going after Pat Walsh up at Sarah of San Mateo in the northern
Tom Brady's high
California.
school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll bring them in from. They can come from wherever. We
Right.
kind of have highlighted. Obviously, Southern California.
Sure.
Northern California would be next, and then Arizona and Nevada.
Right.
We've had them come as far away as Maine, for
Yeah.
God's sake.
Holy cow.
Wow.
You know, kid flew in from Maine. I don't know what happened to him, but
Right.
he flew in from Maine. But so it's anybody's welcome.
Okay.
Anybody's welcome. But it's really important that they sign up so that we can prepare.
Yeah. The
sooner the
and,
better.
and know what our numbers are going to look like, and it's completely in their interest to sign up early,
Right.
because the colleges will get a look. Just one more thing too. When they get in, if they sign up, they go into a master book with their statistics that is updated through the program. And after the day, at the end of the day, the colleges all get a book of all the attendees.
Wow.
So it's now a recruiting tool for them.
Okay.
And they can decide who they wanted to go after and talk to.
You know, a lot of these kids are real proactive on social media, like on
They
Twitter.
are.
They're putting their stats, their GPA, they're
Yeah,
showing
right.
highlights. I mean, this is
Right.
another level.
This
to
is one
that
more layer. We have
to
a
promote
Twitter.
them.
We have a Twitter account. We have an
What an amazing resource for
MySpace?
colleges too. I mean,
Yeah, it's
whatever it is.
That's right. I know it's hard to keep up.
the only thing that really needs to happen is to just drive enrollment. You know,
Yeah.
we're
Right.
just looking at this
That's
resource.
all we really need. That's all we. It's the number one problem we have been unable to crack, and John has and I've already seen tremendous growth in what we're doing, and we have a much better infrastructure of what we're doing versus a bunch of lay people trying to get into your world.
well, that's
Is there a deadline, by
Here
the
to
way,
help
that
you
they need
grow
to
it.
sign up by?
You know, we take walk-ins.
Okay.
We take walk-ins, so.
But the earlier the better, obviously.
and the
But
way
yeah,
the recruit-
clearly, it's
yeah.
much better for them to get in the process. And we will, you know, if in fact we get our numbers too high, we will shut it down.
Okay.
But I'll worry about that when we get
Right.
there. I'll worry about
That'd be
that
a good
when we-
problem to
That'd be
have.
a great problem to
Yeah.
have. But-
So the most impactful part last year for me, as a guy who was a third-party observer, was the guest speaker was a starting left guard for the Chargers.
Okay.
And he was a Division II guy. And
Wow.
he was shy as could be, big. And
yeah.
his,
can't
it
remember
was Matt Eiler or
Yeah,
and
I think that's right.
Right?
I think that's right.
big dude, 6'6".
Oh, he's a monster.
330. And he was very soft spoken, but when he spoke, these kids are looking at him saying, that guy went to a Division II
yeah,
school.
That could be me.
You don't have to go to Georgia.
He
to
was
get-
a late
No,
he
that's
was a
what
late
people-
bloomer. He talked about his height and weight coming out of high school, and you could see the kids going, "That's me."
Right.
And he worked his way up and signed a free agent with the Pittsburgh Steelers, made the team, and then the Chargers traded for him, and he's been a starting guy on a playoff NFL team. And the wheels were turning, and it was
You just never know, right?
never
No,
know.
you
Yeah.
never know.
You don't have to go
And
that traditional route that everybody thinks
you
so.
don't.
There's-
You don't have to do it. And well, and
Right.
we're seeing that in sports, right? Some of these guys that are, you know, these great quarterbacks. Name the top 3 quarterbacks. They aren't from Georgia and Alabama,
Right. In fact, if you
In the
look at
league
the
right
NFL
now.
roster, a lot of these schools are like, that school, that, like, he came
Right.
from
Well,
there. It's
right.
unbelievable.
North
There's
Dakota, North Dakota State has three
Exactly.
NFL quarterbacks right now. North
Is that what
Dakota
it
State,
is?
yeah.
There's that old adage: if you're good, they'll find you.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And you know, again, guys, the Chargers are involved. You know, just to know, we're playing with really top people and
Yeah.
sponsors.
Yeah.
The Chargers are involved. The Rose Bowl's involved. I mentioned the other sponsors. You know, it's a very first class operation.
It sounds absolutely amazing.
And, can't wait to have you guys come out and see us on the 11th.
And I know the
Pencil us in.
Sunset guys are watching, and those guys got to come out, man.
I-
No, I'm going to be making
encourage
calls
all
to
of them.
parents,
because
and
we watch
coaches.
film and
Yeah.
game
After
plan
this.
against
Yeah,
these
no,
guys,
right.
and our hearts beating, going, "Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that guy's a dude."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
again, I just think it's a step on a path that they don't understand the path yet.
Right.
And the path is coming their way with the portal. And, you know, you have this D1 dream and, you know, I don't want to be D2, D3. You don't know that yet.
No.
You want to play. This is for guys that want to play. If they want to play the next level, you're making a terrible error if you don't come out and just work out and see if you're good enough.
You have nothing to lose.
Every
You got nothing
journey
to lose.
begins with a
You got nothing-
step.
Yeah, it's a Saturday morning. You're done by 1:30. They're done by they show up at 9. They're done by 1:30. And they'll have a ball. They'll have a ball. They'll have a lot of fun and it's a cool
Yeah,
deal.
it's just sitting here. I'm like Mo was saying earlier. I'm thinking of so many Sunset League guys that would just benefit from this.
And
I
we got
mean,
friends whose kids play or seniors this year at other schools,
Yeah.
not just in the Sunset League, that
Yeah.
this would definitely apply to. So
Yeah.
we'll,
Guys,
we'll
we
do our
we
job.
we appreciate any assistance you can do it. We as we like to say, we're doing God's work here.
That's right.
And so we appreciate you guys' interest in the showcase, and we'll look forward to seeing you on February 11th at the Great Park in Irvine.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
so
and,
much
and we
for
have our own
joining us,
version
yeah.
of Blackies. It's next door. It's called the Goose. The Goose. Yeah, I think it's the same owner. Mario.
I think
Right
it
there.
is. I think it is. Yeah,
So,
recently. I think
if you'd
that's
like
right.
to have a Coke with us,
Well, that's
come on over.
that may happen.
All right,
I'll be
awesome.
surprised.
Well, guys, thank you so much
can't
for coming in.
thank you guys.
Thank
enough.
you
Thank you
guys
so much,
very much.
gentlemen.
You do a
Really
great
God
job.
bless you.
Great job.
Sign up. It's free money, guys. Nothing wrong with that.
Free money, sign up.